Some guys are literally hitting themselves in the face with hammers, and they call it bone smashing for those good cheekbones. Some are jumping up and down every night at like 24 years old, thinking that they're gonna grow taller. Some are pulling their palate, trying to reshape their skull with their fingers. And this is truly how far Looksmaxxing has gone for some people. It's, you know, basically self-harm disguised as like optimization. Like idiots getting muscle implants, like their fake abs, fake arms, fake shoulders. People putting themselves on steroids before they even get their driver's license, as if it's like affirming care for their small balls. And, you know, their hormone system will never function naturally again. Their fertility screwed as well. I took the worthwhile approach with my transformation. I went from 28% body fat, you know, really chubby face, just rounded, even skinny fat body, but just fully inflamed, all the way down to basically a 7% pretty muscular build, I would say, in terms of like what fitness model material, right? So getting treated completely different in the dating apps. That definitely was night and day. And I didn't have to hit myself in the face with a hammer a single time, believe it or not. All I had to do was stop sabotaging my biology with a lot of mistakes that you're falling for these days. And I'm going to show you what actually works as well to highlight everything when it comes to real life Looksmaxxing done the right way, right? With root cause solutions. So number one, the chubby face problem. So let me tell you my worst problem straight away. My chubby face stripped all masculinity from the face card, plain and simple. It really doesn't matter what kind of bone structure you have underneath if it's hidden by fat, and it's always going to basically look worse. And at my worst, you know, I was at like about 28% body fat, and man, I stayed away from cameras like crazy. But when I took the time and rebuilt muscle and lost that fat, you know, hitting about 7% body fat last year with noticeable muscle, you know, my jawline didn't magically grow. It was revealed. And that's how you have to really look at this, right? Most men truly are not ugly. Even women, I don't think many women are that ugly. They're just inflamed and they overeat. And, you know, dropping 14, 15% body fat from your, you know, that's going to transform your face. Absolutely. Going lower strategically can reveal your full structure, like, you know, your cheekbones, right? But, you know, the bone structure is not the issue. The body fat that's covering it is, right? So I still remember back in West Valley, this random kid asked me, he's like, why are you wearing a tank top if you have no muscle? And that hit me, you know, it caught me off guard a little bit, and it basically ruined my week, honestly. Because before high school, you know, I was super skinny and lanky, and I still like to wear tank tops. But after high school, you know, being skinny fat, you know, with a big belly, no shoulders, weak chest, just soft and weak looking, I wanted to wear my band t-shirt, you know, cut off tank top stuff. And once I did make it to the gym about a year later, I actually did focus on building those main muscle groups that kind of project masculinity, right? So your upper chest, your lateral delts, your shoulders, your lats on your back, and then revealing, you know, basically your six pack with a tight waist. You know, the shoulder to waist ratio is huge. So this type of transformation will change your entire silhouette. You know, the shoulder to waist ratio is super real, and the posture that you get from these muscle gains. When I fixed my, you know, rounded shoulders and forward head posture, my jawline actually looked sharper instantly, probably from angle and just better way of presenting your face, right? I didn't have to change my skull structure, but because I stopped collapsing it, right? My number 2 tip is teeth whitening. One of the biggest subtle upgrades, teeth, absolutely. I started noticing something pretty significant. You know, every guy on TV had that Hollywood clean white smile, right? It's a big thing. And when I started getting it professionally done, my teeth responded just instantly, like super fast, like would go up 7 shades. And friends literally asked me multiple times how I keep my teeth so white. And one of my biggest secrets will probably shock you is this: I stopped drinking coffee altogether. And that alone kept stains on my teeth down like crazy. And it's subtle, of course, you know, that white shine, but the white teeth, I really think, just elevates your entire face. Number 3, alcohol. This is like an absolute killer. So after I turned 21, I was drinking beer basically every weekend, and I could see it in my face, right? It became, you know, started ballooning up. It was inflamed. It was soft. It was puffy. And my skin tone, it just would go into this like dull color. And of course, you know, when you're drinking alcohol like this, it's going to wreck your energy, it's going to wreck your clear skin, and it's going to screw up your body composition, right? You're going to gain tons of fat. You can eat perfect food all week, but 2 nights of heavy alcohol and your face is going to look really rough, man. And when I removed alcohol consistently, and basically I only drink about maybe 4 times a year at this point, my face tightened up so fast. And people started, of course, noticing and just treating me differently once I stopped, binging on alcohol every freaking weekend. It's uncomfortable because so many people normalize drinking, but it's real. So limit it like 95%, no alcohol. Number 4, sardines and that skin glow aura. I never struggled with acne, thankfully, but I did struggle with having like just a super dull skin, especially when I was like pale from winter and just had a really bad inflammatory diet, right? My skin tone looked like the PS2 graphics of Resident Evil when I was at my worst. But when I started eating sardines regularly, just this last year, within days, like I'd say by day 2.5 or so, I noticed that my skin was developing this like real glow. And it's as simple as this. So omega-3s are a type of fatty acid, and they reduce inflammation in your body. Sardines are the most potent, non-toxic food to help inflammation in your body. So lower inflammation, better skin tone. And this wasn't a placebo effect. It's something people visually see and they can respond to. And this was visible to me plainly within days. So integrate some sardines. Number 5, sleep and nose breathing. So what's your default breathing like? As you're watching this video right now, is your mouth closed as you breathe? Because nose breathing is the optimal way to breathe when you're not exercising, of course. So the only time I ever had chronic dry mouth, of course, from sleeping with your mouth open, breathing that way, is when I would have like a sinus infection where my nose is like plugged up, right? And, bad mouth breathers will experience issues like I would when my sinuses were plugged. So people will suffer from just super bad sleep. Your face suffers, like the circulation of it. When I fixed my sleep and started sleeping consistently, properly, my eye brightness changed. Like everything, like I could literally see my eye color brighter after having consistent rest. It's like I recharge and you can just see it in their eyes, right? People underestimate this. Sleep, of course, reduces cortisol too. So getting rid of that stress, lower cortisol means less facial water retention and, the under eye type of dullness, like some people call them like the black circles or so. So your morning face reflects your sleep discipline. Next, 6, grooming mistakes. This is like hair and eyebrows is what I want to highlight here. So really bad haircut phase was like almost near buzz cut. It was like way too short and I had a pretty fat face back then too. That was a horrible combo. So go get your hair done by a real person. And even when I had my emo hair, that was not helping either with my fat face. So hair volume does matter. So get it done right, the proportions. And eyebrow lines. These are huge, guys. Let me tell you. Get them threaded at least maybe twice a year. And it's like getting a clean fade, like haircut on your eyes. It just makes your eyes look way more piercing and sharp, and your emotionality, like with your eyebrows, right? It's huge. So, it's not going to save you if you have bad body composition, but once you're lean, this is going to amplify everything, is your grooming. Next, number 7 is my facial tightness protocol. This is for, filming or important events like a wedding or even a hot date, right? If you really want to look your best and reduce that water bloat in your face. 24 hours prior, reduce your sodium intake pretty noticeably. Avoid massive, like high carb spikes, so keep your hydration consistent as well. And if I'm dealing with a bit of fluid retention from, say, a high salt meal, and I still have to do, get in front of a camera, then I'll do light facial massage, or gua sha blading is what it's called. And it's basically going to reduce the puffiness short term by moving your lymph fluid, right? This isn't like foundational. It's not going to be something permanent, but it's polish, right? And polish does matter when the foundation is built, and it will help. This is a big trend for women, to get their cheekbones, their face contours lit up, right? And the difference is looking like you basically just woke up versus looking like you're ready for a hot date, right? It's pretty night and day. So look into this facial gua sha, give it a try, and you'll be amazed. Now, let me talk about my social shift. So this is the part where it all comes together, because when I lost my alcohol fat from once I hit 21, when I built muscle, when my face ended up tightening from that fat loss and much more, people just treated me differently overall. You know, men generally showed me more respect. Random men and people at work, right? Dating apps became easier. And it's not because I changed who I was, although I did make some good life gains and had better expression, but it's because I look like someone who takes care of themselves, right? And if you actually care about yourself, then others will fall in line and do the same, because that structure signals discipline. They know that about you, and that discipline signals value to people. So keep this in mind. The real Looksmaxxing formula is not anything to do with breaking bones with a hammer on your face, right? It's not about stretching your skull or your teeth all different ways, right? It's not about jumping on the ground to hopefully become taller, right? Instead, do this. Get lean, build your shoulders and chest, fix your posture by, lifting properly, and this should happen naturally. Sleep deeply, get that recovery in. Reduce your alcohol, eliminate it completely if possible, and then eat anti-inflammatory foods. Groom yourself intelligently, highlight your features, the eyebrows, the hair, and keep your teeth white. That's 99% of what will help everyone out there. That's it. So all I'll say at the end here is I didn't change my genetics either. I revealed how they can be expressed the best. And most of you don't need to become someone else. You just need to stop, inflaming your body, stop collapsing your posture, stop hiding your structure and how you take up space. Looksmaxxing isn't really delusional. It should be disciplined biology. And the difference between my old face and the current one, it wasn't bones. It came down to habits and treating myself properly. So that's all. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments. Like, comment, share for the algorithm. And if there's anything I can do to help you, just hit me up in the comments and we'll get it going. Take care, guys. Peace out.